CzarThwomp here, and welcome to episode 16 of the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. Last time, we explored more around the ship, we investigated Pavlova's room, and we discovered nothing. We searched the hallway, we talked to Sherlock. He said, hey, he was mentioning about how the ship log should have had at least, there's nothing happened. If basically nothing happened, but there was no reports of that, so something did happen. And then we came back into the ship, into Pavlova's room, and we discovered that, well, the ship had to turn because of an oncoming vessel. So they turned the ship, the door locked shut, and now we are going to probably learn how the ship probably tilted the night before and caused everyone to bonk their heads while they were sleeping. And look at all the books. They're just like they were before again.
Naruto-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in?
I'd better tie this place up first. I know Hosanaga's so patient. Our violent emergency stop had solved one mystery at least in a very vivid way. But I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. To be continued. Yeah, but this is just so odd that this is a case in an Ace Attorney game that has no trial portion, no cross-examinations, no anything. No, we do not. Heck, the investigations games were very similar to this, but yet they had argument sections. Yeah, this feels like some weird blend between the main series and the investigation series. Somehow the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. You! What are you doing in Pavlova's quarters?
Yes, hurt him.
And then Naruto, Inspector Hosonaga, you mind helping me out?
Oh, don't worry. With your advanced education, you're more than a match for this brute.
And then Hosonaga eyes up Pavlova's closet wardrobe.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go and take Mrs. Pavlova's dresses so I can smell them in the privacy of my own quarters. Ah, you both look unhurt. Good.
Yes, we're fine. Thank you. What on earth happened? We heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship.
Yes, it appeared to have been a false report, though.
Oh? How'd that happen?
There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop.
Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming. Crew are running everywhere.
This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see.
Someone... Sorry. Was looking at my timer. Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside?
Ah! You wicked intruder! Dressed in all in black, you are the devil!
Sorry? Me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first.
You opened my traveling case! How could you?
What? No, we didn't even touch it!
That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector! Yes? Arrest this man! I know he did! He's a criminal! It is not enough that he has killed a man!
Da! And he is stowaway as well! If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe?
Take him away! He's a trespasser as well as everything else!
Stowing away! Trespassing! Killing! She is right! You are devil! It doesn't look good, does it? There is cell below deck! Throw him in! Tomorrow we talk in Hong Kong! Then we give you straight to police! Wait, a cell?
Please, Inspector Zanaga, is there nothing you can do? Well, I simp for this 15-year-old girl, even though I shouldn't. As such, my hands are tied. This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible!
This is a real crisis. We've got to find a solution. Immediately! Examine the stuff! I just need to keep calm and focused on the task at hand, which is to investigate.
Don't touch my things!
You want me to show you a crawfish hibernates?
Yeah!
Love how everyone just turns against Ryuunosuke. Meanwhile, Hosanaga's just standing off there watching.
Well, big shot college man, you want to show off how your education's better than mine?
Mr.
Naruto, what do you think you're doing?
Wow, everyone's attacking me. And I was just starting to think she was my friend. Isn't there anyone who can help me out of this mess? Yes, don't touch the stuff.
You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean.
Sorry, I was just so desperate to find a clue.
I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries.
I'm really sorry.
I have to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I have to report to the captain at once.
I really need some help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this case. Please, just give me a little more time. I do nothing for you, except show you where to ship's prison cell. Ah, thanks, but no thanks. But I'm innocent, I didn't kill anyone. And trespassing and stowing away and making me feel emotionally hurt after you called my writing feminine. Well, you know, sometimes life can lead you down some unusual avenues, and well, enough! You are guilty! Ship cell is the only place fit for you! Along with mother-in-law's house, I send you to my mother-in-law and make you talk to her about knickknacks and paddywhacks! Come on, there has to be someone, some savior to rescue from this crisis! I just love how Sherlock's just on the wall! How do you even get in here?
Miss Babu guy, get out!
Listen, I'm sorry that we snuck in here without your permission, but
get out now!
We just need to investigate here a little more to help understand what happened.
Get out!
Yes, for sure I cannot understand. Yes, easily. Get out, yes! Oh, it's no use, she's not gonna listen. I need to find someone who will. Do they actually have the foreign language in the other text? Okay. Sherlock, to the rescue! What the? What are you doing up there? Mr. Scholl's in the tiara! I swear, Holmes is just so wonderful. I love how just they make... Yeah, but I love how they actually chose the most posh British accent they could possibly give him. Just this refined voice in the intro cutscene where they're trying to make him respectful, and then we see him like this. Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles felt like on one's head. Have I not told you that this, as a detective, is my business to know what other people do not? This is mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no, no. Well, why were you hanging from that hook before then? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall so full of brag and bounce. Ah, I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again, the great detective, my arch nemesis. Ah, Inspector, I have confessed I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than a hook on the wall next time. What is your report? Speak!
An urgent report. Sorry, my voice is off. An urgent report from a great detective can mean but one thing. Yes. The case of the curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Boya, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? What? I don't know who's saying that. Okay. Yes. Ryuunosuke was saying the what. Okay, good. Really? Yes. I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So, allow me to illuminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction of the case greatly.
Ha! You have solved it? Even their dog understands this case. We all know who was responsible for killing Student Boy this morning when we found found criminal in wardrobe. It is Stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it.
The trouble is, there doesn't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because, as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room murder mystery in detective stories.
Locked room. That is point.
The room was locked. Well, I can't deny that.
There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You are all quite mistaken. This cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. Why the game autosave just there?
Oh yes, there's another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprit in order to gain access to the cabin, despite the bolted door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it gapes open mouthed as we even speak. The ventilator, man! The ventilator?
You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole! That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks.
You're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening? It is not possible.
But it is.
And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Jones, you mean? Are you referring to the words Kazuma-sama wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m., I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m., what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill.
Precisely, my dear madam.
But what does it mean? What is this speckled band?
The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing?
I'm fighting my inner demons. There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I am ready. What I'm about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your cores.
Behold! Yeah! Yeah, I don't know who's saying that. Do I have something on my face? Do I have something on my face?
Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the Speckled Band.
A snake?
Indubitably.
Just everyone, nothing to say. Stroganoff is completely unconcerned. Mr. Sholmes, just one thing.
Bray, what troubles you?
Well, that snake isn't really speckled. It looks more stripy, wouldn't you say?
Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it the striped band, wouldn't you? You both see and observe with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap into which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap?
How exactly? Knock my headphones off. I think perhaps it's time to explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova?
I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death is nothing to do with me. His whole thing is nothing to do with me.
There are two conclusions I have drawn from this fact. Number one, last night, your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim's losing his life.
No.
She's turned it white as a bowl of rice again. Strowman's must be right. He's hit the nail on the head.
This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi.
It looks like he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head.
I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck.
So everyone, let's begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Were the handcuffs removed again? Intruder's identity. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death is nothing to do with me. This whole thing is nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded the vessel with, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's violent written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we then give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have to answer this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloth skin. Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, this most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin. No?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Using the bell cord on the side of the bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake, whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. A snake so dreadful, we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. Along with my opium! I should know! I get all of my opium from there! How Mr. Asogi died. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life? And why? And how is it that I'm conjuring up this bubble of memory? According to the data from which I've been appraised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of this victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom.
If we take that as a fact, we can reasonably imagine that these remain evidence to affirm at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost but not quite impeccable puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of snakebite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There is no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you and the victim's death in this traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was relentless inside, no doubt. You don't. It is telling that the victim made a note of how low whistling sounds he heard the minutes before he died. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you had used to train your serpent fiend. To train? Indeed, you put the serpent through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you summon it back with a whistle. You couldn't know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared to not have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. Do you deny the snake has undergone such training? It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the barrel cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom could course through the victim's veins, ending its existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the young man's life. There can be no doubt, my logic is infallible. Death by a venomous snake's bite. Thus concludes Sherlock Sherm's great deduction of the speckled band. Just silence. No one can respond. No one can grasp this level of logic. Everyone else is playing checkers while Holmes is playing 4D chess. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor, you will observe a source of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible. You solved the mystery. Amazing. Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Sherlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course. What's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions to my methods, and I will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all, the autopsy report. Snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madam. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah, that's your only problem? Not the autopsy report? And it's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see? So, I'm not sure if it would be quite possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. I doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk was merely an example. The logic holds. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah! Yeah, so I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistling. But madam, what of the tales of Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sound of the flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see.
Ruin the magic, will you? No hands, no feet, no ears? These creatures are so inept to be practically useless! And then 100 years later, and that, Clavier, is why our family despises snakes. Don't take it out on the snakes, Mr. Sholmes. I will so take it on the snakes with my shovel and my boot.
There is one other thing.
You have more?
Snakes use the skeleton on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that snakes could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like the ones in the cabin.
Then they should try harder.
Please don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this.
And now we get dejected Sholmes.
I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruto.
Oh no, you don't mean...
Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions and turn them into the great ones they ought to be.
I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try.
Just what I was waiting for. Mr. Naruto.
Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? You've done it again! And then Naruto, and then Ryuunosuke, he's like, that's it, I'm out of here, bye! And then Ryuunosuke just runs off.
Your handcuffs are gone! Where did they go?
Fear not, I shall see them restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Opium away! Opium, take me away! Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. The speckled snake. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horde events, your aching heart smashes with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face.
Yes, that's true. She looks as though Kazuma-sama's death is weighing heavily on her mind.
But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has quite read her correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then?
Let's take a moment and really look closely at Miss Pavlova.
Yes, the hand. Come on, I want to do the hand. Yeah, I wanted to do that. Yeah, I wanted to check Beat Stroganoff. Yes.
Oh, Naruto-san, look! That looks like a very painful wound.
It looks like scratches made by some kind of small animal. And fairly recently, too.
Well, whoever scratched her does appear to be around here.
Yes! Claw scratches. Yes, when you recall those horde events, that claw scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch? Sometime last night?
Ah! When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad. And when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse.
And it is that very pain that evidences that your we're just gonna say extricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of the intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded the vessel with, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing summon we see before us. It seems like the scratch marks on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they?
No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow.
Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is it? What is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers?
We should follow her glance at Ryuo-san. That's where we'll find the answer.
Here we are.
Yes!
You were looking over at this framed photographic print, weren't you, Miss Pavlova? But let's not be distracted by the print itself. Oh no. It's the frame that is your friend, isn't it? Because it so beautifully displays whatever you put inside it. What spectacularly contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion? Oh, well, it's supposed to be a logic and reasoning spectacular, so I thought I'd contribute to the show. This is my show, Mr. Naruto. Kind of make particular experiments on your own stage. Sorry. Okay. We can be reasonably sure that Miss Pavlova's furtive glance was aimed at her friend.
And that same friend was probably responsible for the scratch on the back of her head.
It's a cat photograph! We also know that whatever it is, this friend must be small enough to pass through the ventilator. I really ought to narrow it down. Let me scan again in the direction she looked. Cat in the photograph! Ah, look at the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Pavlova brought with her when she ran away.
She is exceptionally beautiful, isn't she?
Yes, that's true. But personally, it's the little black creature she's holding that's caught my eye. Maybe we better get a closer look at this.
Yes!
There we go. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear.
No.
The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you?
Ah! Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind.
Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, the fact leaves us in a quandary. The victor's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give, pray? What was this sight that fell from the victim's eyes last night?
No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this.
Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you're trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's slouched skin.
Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid behind her back.
If she just left in her pocket, no one would ever have known.
Oh yes, ploys like this are Mr. Sherlock's specialty. He's so clever. He so cleverly forced her to reveal something.
I thought deduction was his specialty, or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too.
Anyways, I find it hard to believe that the skin of a snake.
In which case, just what is Mrs. Pavlova hiding behind her back? Oh, come on. Okay, I'm trying to see what... Okay, I'm trying to see what's... Yeah, she's hiding a twig. I'm trying to see the twig. Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy, a long piece of cloth of some sort. And it looks like the handle at one end. I think it may be a cat toy. It's sort of common in the West, apparently. How is it a toy for cats?
Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. You only need to wait in front of them, and they pounce to catch it.
Aha! That sounds positively adorable.
Yes!
cat's toy. Yes, the thing you're trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, and the true nature of the now infamous speckled bag.
Ah!
And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there is only one answer to that. After a feline friend disappeared through the ventilator into the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use the speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah! In summary, the nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka.
Yeah!
A truly troublesome feline, young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing this photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. Photograph added.
It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she's so naughty.
It's a beloved kitty. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter. The grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been appraised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury.
Ah!
In fact, the circumstances of this victim's death can only be explained by a tear of venom.
What Mr. Shom says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-sama's body.
That's right. But Mr. Shom seems to be unaware of one very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned.
Yes, it would seem so. Let's get the information he's missing now.
Yes! Yes, the autopsy report. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah, yes, I knew it was one of the or the other.
His neck was...
Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Steven Strongov isn't some immortal freak, you know. The jury's out. Anyways, we have a good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm that the scene of the crime.
Oh no, could it be?
Ah, yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone.
Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapons been found, though.
Presumably, Darka didn't silently creep up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow.
I suppose. It's possible that he had a fall and hit the ground awkwardly. It could have been a terrible act of misfortune that he broke his neck completely by accident.
Oh yes, a bad fall could explain it.
It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man, unlike you.
Well, we need to fix this deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened? Yes! There we go. Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor will prove the cause of death conclusively. This particular mark, so prominently visible next to the victim's body, is a deposit of shoe polish.
Shoe polish?
Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, and in no way am using and was in no way built by my 10-year-old roommate, who is currently being consumed by the bags of opium, the main bags of opium that I have in my apartment. Hopefully she has not suffocated beneath them. Holmesy, help! I'm trapped in the opium! Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results. The undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Mr. Asogi's lace leather shoes. Look at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have caught his foot in that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no! And by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against some unmovable object as he hit the floor. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. No! I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? What about the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. You did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that case. I don't believe it! Kazuma-sama's merely tripped over and now he's no more? It can't be true! I refuse to accept it! I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor seems to suggest what happened. And if this part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction is right, Miss Pavlova is trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she casts her eyes. Where? I wonder. Let's have a good look around. The answer must be around here somewhere. Okay, come on. Traveling case, come on. Ha, let's go in the waste basket.
Yes!
Let's see if that does it. Okay, that was wrong. I'm sure this waste paper basket is hiding something. Perhaps I should have examined it more thoroughly. Regardless, I'm just going to throw caution to the wind and say that is it. What spectacular contrived logic. Yeah, we already went over that. I still can't believe myself to bring it. Believe it. It seems just so unlike Kazuma-sama to stumble carelessly and then fall to his death. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest what happened. But I have a feeling there's something here in this cabin that links Miss Pavlova to the mark. And I suspect we'll find it in the direction that her guilty eyes cast before. Okay. Okay, anything? Okay, there we go. We're in the waste basket. Good. This is a waste paper. This is a waste paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them, but Miss Pavlova's only started occupying the cabin late last night. Presumably, there's not much rubbish in here yet. Oh, what's that? The skulls of the dead? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more than your mind simply playing tricks on you. Yes, I'm trying to basically do that. Can I look inside the waste paper basket? No, I want to select the waste paper basket. I know that we had to select the waste paper basket. That's what I'm trying to do. Really? I have to investigate the waste paper basket. We just can't go on. That's right. You hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in this waste paper basket. Ah! Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor in Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit perfectly together. Oh no! So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what this tells us? Why would it be that part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death,
to be found in the wastepaper basket in your cabin. Yeah! You're well acquainted with this glass bell, are you not? I don't know, in that hushed Russian accent of yours. Won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruto.
Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and this little glass bell, that would be...
Yes!
If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see, hanging from Darka's collar, the very glass bell in question.
The truth has caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall.
And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka.
I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry.
Death by tripping over a cat. Yes, the ultimate way to go. Trip over a cat. You die by the cat. Why don't you tell us now, Miss Pavlova? We'll do that next time. Anyways, I really appreciate that you stuck around to watch this episode. You're a great viewer, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, share, do whatever that you want. Without seeing you next time. Bye.